following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Wisconsin.
This Brewers and Cubs series is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. A beautiful Friday afternoon here in Chicago, getting ready for Game 2 between the Brewers and the Cubs, a 4-game series between these two NL Central division rivals. The series got off to a great start last night, an old-fashioned pitching duel between Kyle Hendricks and Chase Anderson. Kyle Hendricks last night threw 7 shutout innings against the Brewers, and then it was Kyle Schwarber who came up with his 7th home run of the season. That home run would stand up as the only run in the game, as the Cubs would defeat the Brewers 1-0. Good afternoon, everyone. Sophia Minert here at Wrigley Field. And last night was certainly a great game, a well-pitched game between Kyle Hendricks and Chase Anderson. For Chase Anderson, it was a tough loss because he certainly pitched outstanding and deserved to win. So we take a look back at Chase Anderson's start. His 4th quality start of the season. He went 7 innings, gave up just the 1 run. Kyle Schwarber solo home run, 5 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts on the game. Anderson spoke with us after the game last night about the outing and what this means for the series. And it's a great start for Chase Anderson to start the season. In his 6 starts, his record 2-2, the earned run average very good as well at .286, and the strikeouts 23 for him on the season, keeping opponents to a very low batting average as well with .207. So Anderson spoke with us about that great start last night and what it means for the series.
If I'm pitching deep in games, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if I give up 1 run, every time I go out there, I feel like we give a team a chance to win, so it doesn't really matter. I think working on a little elevation a little more, like I did last year, as I get ahead in the count, just kind of throwing that back in there, and I'm just continuing to improve. I think early on my back was bugging me a little bit, so I couldn't get that down away extension. Now I feel like I'm getting back to that, so I really look at the home runs as a big deal. Just a couple mistakes, and something to work on.
It was another great start for Chase Anderson last night, though he did take the loss, but 7 strong innings for him and his 4th quality start. And the starting rotation feels good no matter who they hand the ball off to. Last night, Anderson handed the ball off to Jacob Barnes, who gave the Brewers a 7th straight shutout appearance, and this bullpen just continues to impress. Barnes last night came in 1 inning, gave up just 2 hits and 1 strikeout. This Brewers bullpen continues to add to their scoreless inning streak. That now stands at 29. And over that streak, they've given up just 13 hits with 35 strikeouts. Jacob Barnes spoke with me about what this bullpen has been able to do so efficiently.
It's been impressive, and we don't really talk about it much, but just kind of sitting back, obviously when we're not in the game, and just watching how each guy is, doing their job and getting guys out. And not only that, but coming in when other guys have left guys on, whether it's a starter or another reliever. We've been doing our job pretty well, and it's hopefully it continues for a lot longer.
And how important is that, not just when you guys are putting up zeros, but also when you're coming into innings when there's runners on base and you're still able to get the job done?
Yeah, sometimes that's the most important time. Everyone always looks at individual innings or, roles and stuff like that, but sometimes you might be coming in the 5th or 6th and, have a big, second to third or bases loaded, whatever situation, and, that's a huge point in the game. So being able to kind of keep it, scoreless and not let the other guys runs in is a huge part of the game.
This bullpen has been impressive all season long. We take a look around the big leagues, the lowest bullpen earned run average, and there are the Brewers sitting in 3rd at .245 for their earned run average. Only Arizona and Toronto have been better. We've spoken a lot about the bullpen, the tremendous pitching that we saw last night. When we come back, our game announcers Matt LePay and Bill Schroeder will take a look at the pitching matchup in Game 2. For the Crew, it'll be Brent Suter, and for the Cubs, it'll be Yu Darvish. We'll take a look at the pitching matchup coming up next here at Wrigley Field.
The Wisconsin Lottery reminding you to please play responsibly. By Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension. And by Pepsi, this is the Pepsi for your crew.
One of the things DJ and I were working on in the bullpens was not only being able to go up and in, which has kind of been my bread and butter, but being able to expand and go kind of X the plate on the arm side without really missing arm side, kind of staying right on that black, like outer third black off area. So we really worked on that two seam, the change up, fading off of my kind of arm side, or the arm side cutter. And that really helped. I was able to go both quadrants on the outside corner to righties when I was on, and that really kind of got them thinking outside the plate, and then it made my inside stuff that much more effective. So that was really a big jump.
We're going to get insight from today's starting pitcher and his work with Derek Johnson, what Brent Suter will need to do today and throughout the course of this season for him to have the kind of success that he's looking for. Good afternoon. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Matt LePay. Second game of this series against the Chicago Cubs. And Rock, everybody knows Brent Suter is not a flamethrower, but he can be very crafty. And when he has his cutter working, he can be especially effective.
There's not much you can say above what he said in that scouting report, right? That's pretty thorough. And surprised, a lot of pitchers aren't going to do that, but you're right. I mean, the cutter is his pitch, and whatever he wants to say about, the four-seamer on the outside corner, the changeup, the curveball, everything works off of that cutter, and the cutter cannot be down and in. That's not a place where he wants that. To right-handed batters, to lefties, that's certainly the case, but it's the quick-breaking cutter inside that really sets up all of his other stuff, and when he has that pitch, he's able to keep the ball in the ballpark, and he's able to get in on the hands to get a lot of ground ball outs. You can't elevate and allow these guys to lift the ball in the air like he did in his last start.
All right, that's the outlook on today's starter for the Brewers. As for the Chicago Cubs, one of the big free agent acquisitions, Yu Darvish coming over, obviously from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Big contract. He's been up and down, but Rock, the Brew Crew saw him at his very best a few weeks ago.
Yeah, 6 innings, 1 run. It was a solo home run by Eric Thames. He struck out 9. Now the key to getting to Darvish is being patient at the plate. His last 2 starts, a combined 8 walks. That has really been his undoing. Darvish is one of those guys that wants to get ahead of you in the count and then strike you out. He's not looking for early action on in the infield, but if the Brewers are able to be patient and attack early in the strike zone, I think that they're going to be okay today.
Yeah, Darvish, to your point, Rock, in his career averaged 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. Breakthrough year last season for Domingo Santana. Bit of a slow start this year, but of late he's showing signs of rounding into form. Sophia Minute will have more on Domingo Santana as we get you ready for first pitch.
And the Cubs, game 2 of this 4-game set between these NL Central Division rivals, and a look at right fielder Domingo Santana. The Brewers would love to see that bat break out for Santana in the lineup here tonight. Good afternoon, everyone. Sophia Minner back at Wrigley Field, and Domingo Santana was one of 3 Brewers to have a 30 home run season a year ago, and this year he's hitting .244 on the season, but still looking for that first home run. So it's been a bit of a slow start for Santana here in April, but maybe that bat is starting to get going for Santana. Over his last 3 games, he's got 4 hits. He had been 0 for 16 in his previous at-bat, so maybe Santana is turning the corner at the plate. Manager Craig Counsell spoke about the approach he's seen from Santana over the last few games.
He hasn't driven the ball yet. There's no question. He hasn't got the ball in the air a lot. You know, I mean, I think it's, you know, it's hopefully coming. I think obviously home runs, doubles, extra base hits come from hitting the ball in the air generally. And we've seen a lot of ground balls from him. He's, you know, last night I thought he hit a couple balls hard on the ground, but yeah, I mean, he's searching for it a little bit. I mean, I think to have, you know, getting through the month of April without too many extra base hits is not something you expected from him.
Domingo Santana looks to keep that bat going. The Brewers lineup will face Yu Darvish. We've got first pitch coming up next between Brent Suter and Yu Darvish. It's Brewers and Cubs coming up next here at Wrigley Field.
Anderson, 2-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. Cold third strike. Struck him out. And a drive to right field. That is gone. Shaw with a fly ball hit into left field. And that's the game. It was quite the pitcher's duel last night. One swing of the bat of Kyle Schwarber, that was the difference in the game. That's last night. Brewers trying to even the series this afternoon on a 55-degree day, and the wind is blowing in. You're going to have to earn it if you leave the yard here this afternoon. Hopefully we will stay dry from start to finish. Craig Counsell hoping his club will start a new streak. The 8-game run ending last night in the 1-0 setback to the Cubs, but still the Blue Crew 16-10 here as we near the end of the month of April. And let us check out the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Lorenzo Cain, per usual, leads things off. Christian Yelich right behind him. Jesus Aguilar bats third and plays first. Travis Shaw hitting cleanup. Domingo Santana, Hernan Perez, Eric Sogard will handle things at shortstop today. Manny Pena behind the plate. Brent Suter rounding out the Brew Crew batting order against one of the prized acquisitions of the offseason. The Cubs starter today, Yu Darvish.
Yep, off to a bit of a slow start. His 5th outing of the season, yet to win a game. He's 0-2. Those 2 losses have come in his last 2 starts. He's having control issues. He's walked 8 combined in his last 2 starts, while allowing 9 earned runs. Has really not been able to pitch too deep into ball games yet, but his best start came at Miller Park against Milwaukee this year. Check out the Cubs as they line up defensively. You got Ian Happen left, Almora Hayward in center and right. You got David Boak. You got Russell and Baez up the middle. Anthony Rizzo at first base, and Wilson Contreras behind home plate.
All right, Rod. We almost have all the pieces in place. Almost. What do you got?
Pizza Ranch. Pizza Ranch?
Yes, sir.
We're going to do an early Pizza Ranch. Here we go. Well, it's all about the cutter. We talked about that when we came on the air today. That's a big pitch for him. It sets up just about everything else. And you got to be aggressive early with Yu Darvish. He likes to get a first pitch strike and then nibble on the corners, get you to chase. And as you already mentioned, winds up blowing in. That's a big deal here at Wrigley. That's the first thing you look at when you come to the ballpark. Which way is the wind blowing? And it's a blowing in.
It is a blowing in. That is well said. As last night, no breeze really at all. Schwarber, his home run was a bolt that left the park. A couple of deep flies, and that was it. But you're really going to have to earn it this afternoon. Brewers looking to draw even now as Lorenzo Cain will settle in. The Brew Crew shutout last night. They've been blanked 4 times, 3 of those occasions against the Chicago Cubs. See if they come alive today as Cain attacking right away. Sends one into shallow right field, and Jason Hayward drops the ball, and Cain's still running, and he is in at second base. Oh, we mentioned that win. That has to be a factor, even with the multi-gold glover in Jason Hayward, as he's unable to squeeze that fly ball.
And credit Lorenzo Cain for hustling. That's going to be knee 9 on Jason Hayward. But again, it's going to be an adventure. Anything up in the air today, it's going to be pushed back toward the field. And he was never comfortable with that from the beginning. And a lot of guys are just going to trickle out of the batter's box and just kind of hope the ball is going to be dropped. But Lorenzo Cain hustling out of the box, he ends up in scoring position.
So an error to a 5-time Gold Glover. Here is Christian Yelich. Brewers going after the first pitch here out of the gate against Yu Darvish.
And that's the scouting report. He likes to work ahead and get you to chase off-speed pitches out of the strike zone.
Yelich 0 for 4 last night. Brewers thought they had something going in the 9th inning against the closer Brandon Morrow as Lorenzo Cain singled. Yelich hit one on the button, but right to Javier Baez, who started a double play. 0-2 the count to Christian Yelich as we are just getting started here at chilly Wrigley Field on this Friday afternoon. Day games throughout the course of this weekend. And then from here, the Brewers head on to Cincinnati for games against the Reds Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
And Darvish has basically 6 pitches that he'll throw. He throws just about everything at you. He's going to change speeds on just about all of his pitches. He can work it up there, you know, mid-90s with a fastball. A lot of sliders with 2 strikes.
His career strikeouts per 9 is 11. As Rock mentioned, the strikeouts are down, the walks are up. Walking 5 per 9 innings through his first 4 starts is Yu Darvish. A ball, 2 strikes to Yelich. The thing the Brewers have been able to do here of late, certainly it was the case in the course of the 8-game winning streak, is take advantage of mistakes. The Cubs have made one right away. We'll see if Craig Counsell's team can continue what's been a pretty good trend here of late.
And not giving teams extra outs, and when the other team commits a miscue, jump on it. They did that very well against the Royals.
Sweeping that series against Kansas City. Quick 2-game set. And the 1-2 again to Yelich. Got him swinging. Here's the first out of the day.
And there's that slider down and in. Yelich over the top of it. He wants to strike you out. That's his MO. He gets ahead of you and then wants you to chase out of the strike zone, which is what Yelich just did. Pitch out of the zone, down and in. He struck out 9 Brewers back at Miller Park this year.
And that by far his season high. And the other outings, he lasted 4 2/3 in a couple of them and 4 1/3 in his first start of the year against the Marlins down in Miami. Here's Jesus Aguilar. Pinch hit appearance last night. He struck out, but still sporting a .410 batting average. He gets the call at first base today. Day off for Ryan Braun. Braun handled first base last night for the first time since the first 2 games of the season. The Brewers opened up against the Padres in San Diego. Kane is running. Aguilar takes, and Lorenzo Cain has third uncontested.
Well, he had a terrific jump, and then Contreras couldn't get a handle on it. Kind of a bobble getting it out of his glove, and Lorenzo now at third base, less than 2. Had a walking lead, took off, and then Contreras just couldn't get a grip.
Contreras can be very effective at cutting down runners, but Cain now the runner at third. A 2 strikes and nothing count to Jesus Aguilar. Cubs pull the infield in. And Aguilar sends one into left field. This will be deep enough, plenty deep enough. Happ at the track, and Cain will jog home for the first run of the game. Sacrifice fly for Jesus Aguilar.
A different day, right? We talked about the wind blowing in, and that certainly held that one up a little bit. So the Brewers do indeed capitalize on the error. That 2-base error. Aguilar barrels it up and hits it deep enough to get the Brewers on the board first.
Eighth RBI of the year for Jesus Aguilar as the Brewers grab the early 1-0 lead. Yeah, last night that would have been in the bleachers. So this is just how strong Aguilar is. The wind's whipping in. They're saying about 15, 16 miles an hour. Has a little kick, I would say, that's above that.
Yeah, last night the wind was blowing from right to left. Certainly would have been a home run last night, at least early in the game.
Travis Shaw, the hitter. Shaw sent one to the warning track last night with Ryan Braun on board, but the park held it as Happ was able to squeeze it at the warning track, and the Cubs got out with a 1-0 win. 0-2 pitch coming to Shaw. The Brewers do in fact capitalize on the early Cubs error. Darvish with a 1-2.
He's got good movement on that fastball. 96 miles an hour, that last one. Some good sink to it. He's also going to four-seam it. If the pitch exists, he's probably going to throw it at some point tonight.
That's the book on him. If
well, I should say today. Today.
He does have everything. 4-time All-Star, including last year. 2-2 pitch coming to Shaw. Good start to the season for Travis Shaw, who was the team's MVP last year. Provided one of the top moments for the Brew Crew a year ago with the walk-off homer at Miller Park against the Cubs late September. Darvish with a couple of strikeouts here in the first inning. But the Brewers get on the board. An error to Jason Hayward. And Lorenzo Cain eventually comes around. Bruce Sutter. Brent Sutter. His nephew. Brent's on the mound today. Bottom of the first we go. Of a two-base error from the five-time Gold Glover Jason Hayward. Early lead for the Crew. Let's check out the Chicago Cubs batting order presented by Potawatomi. Albert Almora Jr. leads off, followed by Javier Baez and Anthony Rizzo. Contreras, Bodie, and Happ in the middle. Russell, Hayward, and Darvish rounding out the batting order against the Brewers lefty Brent Sutter.
Yeah, making start number 6 on the season. 1-2, 568 earned run average. He lost to the Cubs back at Miller Park. 5 innings, 4 earned runs in a Brewers 8-0 loss. Making career start number 4 against Chicago.
The always quick working Brent Sutter, with Albert Almora doing what a lot of hitters will try to do: step out, just try to disrupt tempo.
Slow him down a little bit.
And Almora sends one to left field, and his hitting streak is now at 10 games. And he takes the big turn. The throw from Yelich, not in time, and it's a double for Almora to lead off the bottom of the first.
That's the cut fastball. That's the pitch for Brent Sutter, and it appears that a lot of teams are starting to look in there for that pitch. And put it pretty much where he wanted it. You want that cutter to right-handers in, and you want it up. That might have been down a little bit too much, and Almora able to get the barrel on it, rip it down the line. That's the both teams with their leadoff hitters at second base to start the game.
Well, here's Javier Baez. The hot hitters going right now, along with Albert Almora Jr. Field hit for Baez last night gives him a 9-game hitting streak. Before that hitting streak, he was hitting all of 190. And tearing it up, and that RBI total continues to lead the National League.
And a lot of extra base hits for Baez.
Ball a strike. Yeah, 17 extra base hits for Baez, and that's what he's been doing here since that sluggish start. Tremendous batting average and a run producer.
24 RBIs already this season, and that after a slow start.
Made a terrific defensive play last night at second, taking away a hit from Ryan Braun. Hard hit ball that Baez had to get up in the air, showed some good bounce. 2 balls, 1 strike with Almora at second. Brewers have been getting some outstanding starting pitching. The bullpen has been off the charts. Last dozen games, though, the Brewers starters have pitched to a .241 earned run average.
And there hasn't really been a whole lot of very short starts in there either, eating up some innings. Brewers only needed 1 reliever in yesterday's game, although they did lose.
Chase Anderson was terrific. That's the tough luck losing decision for Anderson, as he had a terrific outing. 7 innings from Chase, giving up 5 hits, 1 home run to Kyle Schwarber. Full count to Baez. That's it into left field. That's a base hit. Almora will score, and just like that, the Cubs have tied the game here in the bottom of the first.
Two hard hit balls against Brent Suter right from the get-go. And check out the location. That curveball that stayed right down the middle of the plate, and Baez able to wait back and hit a line drive into left. So back-to-back hits, Cubs on the board.
Baez likes to attack, work the count. And now he has a 10-game hitting streak. So the hot hitters in this Chicago lineup waste no time in extending their runs. Both Almora Jr. and Baez with 10-game hitting streaks. Here's Anthony Rizzo with Baez running. The throw down from Pena, and Baez has second. Both teams getting the running game going here this afternoon.
And Pena tried to hurry a little bit because Baez had a really good jump. Good, decent lead, good jump. Yeah, good throw is probably going to get Baez, but the throw short hops. Not a good start for the Brewers.
0-1 the count to Anthony Rizzo. He was hitless in 3 trips last night. Figure it's a matter of time before he heats up. Just hope that time isn't anytime real soon, as in this long weekend.
And you know he's going to get his when the season's over. His number is going to be where they normally are. But yeah, historically he's been a guy that gets off to a slow start.
Suter ahead of the count, 0-2. Work him inside. Last night's Cubs win was a bit of an exception to how they've rolled this season. It's been much of an all or nothing team in their wins. They've been averaging better than 9 runs a game. In their losses, fewer than 2. They won a pitcher's duel last night. Rizzo, a base hit to left. Baez will score. And the first 3 Cubs have reached. 2 of them are in. 2-1 Cubs.
Tried to work him away, left it up in the zone. Rizzo just punches one out there into left field. And Rizzo stands right on top of home plate. You can see where this pitch ends up. And a good piece of hitting to slice it out there into left field. Probably too good a pitch with 2 strikes. Get it down around the dirt.
Cubs bats are alive. There's Derek Johnson with an early mound visit. Let's see if Suter can settle in. As he faces Wilson Contreras, who came in late in last night's game. Singled in his 1 at bat. Hitting cleanup today for Joe Madden. Contreras was a big part of that Cubs second half surge last year. Got hot in July and on into early August. He had some help with some hot bats, but he did his part.
He's got good bat speed. I mean, early in the season he was hot, swinging the bat pretty well. Had a pinch hit single in last night's game. Came in for defense late.
2 balls, no strikes. Contreras became the full-time catcher last year with the retirement of David Ross after their World Series title season. Joe Maddon still without Chris Bryant in the lineup this afternoon.
We saw Chris Bryant before the game. There was no batting practice on the field for either team today, so Bryant was out there taking ground balls, running the bases. I'm sure he's not going to be long for the lineup. He's going to be in there soon.
And they're hoping, it sounds like, this weekend. Since being hit by a pitch on Sunday in Colorado, he has not returned yet. It's a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that Bryant took. The helmet was very much needed. That was a scary moment.
Yeah.
As he has, they've been understandably very cautious before getting him back out there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So almost caught leaning.
Yeah, Suter's got a good move. And Baez took advantage of Suter, went on the first move and stole a base earlier this inning.
Brewers take a look, make sure. And they will play on. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Wilson Contreras.
Last pitch at 88 for Brent Suter. And normally he's around 86, 87. Really, I've never seen him touch 90 with the fastball.
Trying to settle in and get it out. He's given up a couple of runs in this first inning. Contreras stays alive.
We were in about the 3rd inning at this point last night, weren't we?
We were. That game last night took, that was old school, 2 hours, 22 minutes.
Boy. Shades of the 70s and 80s, right?
It really was. Chase Anderson and Kyle Hendricks. Contreras with a fly ball out to right center field. And Lorenzo Cain will play it for out number 1.
Well, that wind's really pushing the baseball toward the right field line.
And that's what the hitters are dealing with this afternoon. There's David Bodie. So he gets the call at third base. We mentioned Chris Bryant not in the lineup this afternoon. Bodie spent last year at Double-A. And he was called up last weekend when Ben Zobrist was put on the disabled list. He can play just about anywhere. At least that was the resume on Bodie in the minor leagues. Anywhere but on the mound and behind the plate.
Yeah, but it was Listel over at third base in yesterday's game. They got Chris Bryant, who is still on the bench. Got some options. I mean, every team has a number of players who can play multiple positions. I guess that's the way you have to do it these days.
There's a bouncing ball in the hole. Sogard, nice play on the flip to Hernan Perez. Force will erase Anthony Rizzo for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, Orlando Arcia getting the day off. Sogard with not near the arm strength, but gets rid of it very quickly. There's a good pitch down in the strike zone. Pulled the string just a little bit, and Yeah, good play by Sogard to get the out at second base. Probably no chance at first.
Here's Ian Happ, the left fielder, and first pitch swing and a base hit to right. Moving on to third was Bodie, and then he slammed on the brakes and just does get back. This is a very good first to third team, the Cubs, but challenging Domingo Santana comes with a high risk.
And pretty good throwing arms for the Brewers in the outfield. Not only arm strength, but accuracy. And Bodie would have been out at third base. Good throw by Santana. Well, every time it seems like Suter leaves one up in the strike zone, the Cubs are hitting it hard. A little bit of a stumble, and he changed his mind. He gets back to second base.
A tough first inning will continue for Brent Suter. Coming into this game, he allowed just one run in the first inning in his first 5 starts. The second inning was the inning that was stinging him early this season as he delivers a strike to Addison Russell. Four-hit first inning for the Cubs, and a couple of runs are in. Russell personally looking for a bounce back year this season. And there's Pena looking for a pickoff, and Bodie again just able to get back.
And trying to help his pitcher out to get out of this inning. Quick release, that one right on the money.
He picked off 6 a year ago. Two balls, one strike to Russell, and there's a ground ball. Shaw will handle it, and that'll do it for the Cubs in the first, but they pick up a couple of runs on 4 hits. Move to the second, 2-1 Chicago.
The Brewers will host the Pirates for a 3-game series at Miller Park next Friday, May 4th through Sunday the 6th. You can check out the full weekend schedule, which includes Star Wars night on Friday, Cinco de Mayo on Saturday, and a lightweight hoodie giveaway on Sunday at Brewers.com.
Those hoodies coming handy today. Again, here's what's coming up. Got the Pirates, and then the Cleveland Indians will come to Miller Park. The Brewers will be heading out west. Domingo Santana leads things off here in the second inning against Yu Darvish. Couple of hits for Santana last night. He's had a couple of multi-hit games this week. Sophia Minard talking about that in Brewers Live, and just before first pitch today, maybe that's what Santana needs to get going. He had a very good month of May last year. He stumbled at times in the first month. Had some power last April, but the batting average was below 200. But after that, things improved dramatically.
Hey, you heard Craig Counsell talking about Domingo, and you know the fact that he hasn't really been lifting many pitches in the air. And the other thing he's been doing a much better job of is taking it to right field. A lot of his hits are up the middle and into right field. That's always a good sign for any hitter.
A ball, 2 strikes to Santana. Yet to this point, Santana has been almost exclusively a singles hitter this season, but proved to everybody last year he's a lot more than that when he's on. 30 homer year, 29 doubles.
It'll come. You got to walk before you run. He had a rough spring training. I think he's making baby steps. I think, you know, thinking right field is the first sign of a guy snapping out of it.
Hits were hard to come by last night. The Brewers had but 6, so for Santana to get a couple, that's a very positive sign. He is battling with Yu Darvish here to begin inning number 2.
And most hitters are going to think opposite field and react inside. I mean, if you think inside, there's no way you can slow the bat down and handle the pitch away. And you see that a lot more from Domingo Santana lately.
Darvish again ready with the 2-2. Ground ball to Rizzo. That'll be out number 1. Hernan Perez getting back in the lineup here this afternoon. Haven't seen him since last Sunday at Miller Park. Off day Monday, and a little mixing and matching with the lineup, but Hernan back in there today.
And some guys getting days off. Remember, you have Thames on the disabled list. Braun's out of the lineup. Arcia out of the lineup today.
Perez, another one of those hitters you figure will come around. He gets the call at second base this afternoon. Darvish, 6-year contract at $126 million. It's one of the big conversation topics throughout the course of the offseason.
There were rumors that the Brewers were in the mix. Ended up in Chicago. And it really hasn't gotten going yet.
Count is even 2-2.
That's the other thing Darvish will do. He'll drop down once in a while. He just dropped down on Perez right there and caught the inside corner.
A couple of strikeouts in the first inning for Darvish. Here's the 2-2. Ground ball over to third. That's David Bodie, and that is the second out of the inning. And with 2 outs, nobody on in the second inning. Here is Eric Sogard, and let's take a look as Sogard takes on Yu Darvish today by AARP. He's the one Brewer with the largest sample size against today's starter, 5 for 16. A couple of doubles, and he's worked 6 walks. So for those wondering why Sogard today, there you go. He has a history and a good one.
And back in his days in the American League, facing Darvish when he was with the Rangers.
Sogard last appeared Tuesday against the Royals in Kansas City. Talk about Darvish. When last we saw him in the World Series, he was getting knocked around, brief and ugly appearances against the Astros, but he actually pitched well earlier in the postseason against the Diamondbacks and against the Chicago Cubs. But the last impression was a tough one. Obviously, the Cubs like the total package of this four-time All-Star, including last year, by the way.
You got to believe he's going to turn things around too. I mean, he's too good a pitcher to be messing around with earned run averages around 7.
Sogard pops this one up in a shallow center field, and Albert Almora Jr. will squeeze it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Yu Darvish. 2-1 Cubs in the second.
Baseball, the Cubs with a 2-1 lead here in the second inning. And speaking with pitching coach Derek Johnson before today's game about today's starter, Brent Suter, making his 6th start of the season and 2nd overall versus the Cubs, he said, you know, certainly there aren't a lot of pitchers across all of baseball who can pitch into the 7th. Suter has only pitched into the 6th one time in his starts, but he said he's had some innings over the course of his starts that could have worked out better, but just didn't. But one positive, he said, with Suter is that he seems to get stronger as he gets going into the 4th, 5th, and if he is able to get into the 6th. So that's certainly a positive for him. He said Suter's still getting a lot of swing and miss at the top of the zone, which is where he wants to pitch. And so he said certainly you anticipate the league will make adjustments to Suter. But he said overall, over the course of this first month, he's done his job well, and he's given this team some productive starts.
And I think when you watch the Cubs that, attack Suter, at least in the first inning, it looked like they were looking inside these right-handed batters and getting some pretty good swings on the cutter. So it's going to be important for Suter today to make the adjustment and maybe start working away, use some different pitches, and then go back to the cutter once he has those other pitches in the minds of the Cubs hitters.
A 4-pitch walk to Jason Hayward to begin the second. Suter needed 31 pitches to get through the first inning. But to Sophia's point, she was talking about her conversation with Derek Johnson, and these last couple of outings specifically with Suter, after a rough inning, he has settled down pretty well. He did so against Cincinnati, settled down relatively effectively in his last start against the Marlins, where he gave up a run in the first and 3 in the second, and then he did get a little stronger. He settled in and looking for more of that today.
Yeah, sometimes though that's all it takes to lose a game, first 2 innings.
Darvish trying to move the runner up as he bunts to Suter, and the play is at first for out number 1. Sacrifice bunt for the Cubs pitcher. Hayward now in scoring position. Back to the top of the order for Albert Almora. First 3 Cubs reached in the first inning. Almora a double and singles from Javier Baez and Anthony Rizzo. That's when you know you're hot as a team. Where the Brewers in that game against the Marlins, Milwaukee fell behind 4-0. It was early and they were able to rally, but you know, a habit of that, it's a little dangerous.
Right, especially when you're facing some pretty good pitching like you do against the Cubs. Good starting rotation. Bullpen's been solid. You don't want to be falling too far behind.
Ball a strike to Almora.
This little off-speed pitch on the outside corner. That's what I'm talking about. You know, maybe mix it up a little bit. Maybe set up the cutter a little bit later.
Just upstairs to even the count.
Well, you can tell when a team has got a certain plan against you. I mean, you can tell behind the home plate when you're catching, calling the game, getting that bat head out early in that cutter today.
There's a strikeout for Suter. His first of the day, and that's out number 2 in the second.
And that blow by right there was because the changeup that he was able to throw in the outside corner. That gets in the head of the hitter. You can see outer half up in the zone at 88. I mean, he gets a lot of mileage out of that high fastball as long as he does not become predictable. He's going to mix in the other stuff.
With 2 outs, here's Javier Baez. Little chopper. Aguilar. The feed to Suter, well executed, and that'll do it for the Cubs in the second inning. So a leadoff walk is a harmless one. We're through 2-1 Cubs. Live and more than 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. Third inning at Wrigley Field. Sun shining for now. A chance for rain later, but hopefully much later, as Manny Pena will lead off. 8-9-1 for the Brew Crew.
Yeah, like Monday, right, for the rain?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
That much later,
yeah.
you're talking, yeah.
Yep. It can rain all at once in Chicago, starting on Monday. We'll get back in there this afternoon. Jet Bandy was behind the plate last night. No 2 pitch from Darvish. Pena taps it to short. Russell, 1 out. Now Brent Suter. And he did settle in after a leadoff walk in the bottom of the 2nd. No damage was done.
Kind of interesting that you know, both pitchers today in the game, neither one of them wearing sleeves. Most of the position players have the sleeves on.
Mind over matter.
Right.
We're wearing sleeves. We're a little soft up here.
Sleeves, jackets, hats, gloves. Imagine it's a little bit warmer down in the field with the sun shining on it.
A little cool in the shade.
But we acknowledge we're weak. We don't like the cold.
You know, it's important to know who you are. Soft? Yeah. Raise your hand. Okay, but the window's out. 1-2 pitch. Suter. That's David Bodie over at 3rd, and that's out number 2. Two outs, bases empty as Lorenzo Cain comes to the plate. Mentioned it's an eventful week for Lorenzo, specifically Tuesday night in Kansas City, his first game back. He's coming over to the Brewers from the Royals. Powerball home run count, 3 of them for Cain, including that solo shot on Tuesday night. Fun homecoming for Lorenzo. Got a very warm reception both nights, but especially on Tuesday.
But you know what was the impressive thing about it? I mean, the Kansas City players were glad to see him.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. I mean, you know, before the game, even during the game when he was on base, you see guys go over there and kind of pat him on the back, and he meant a lot to the folks in Kansas City, not just the fans.
Pre-game news conference, Salvador Perez came in, and a selfie taken. It was fun, and he delivered too, especially on Tuesday night. He actually reached 4 times. A lot of times you get those warm welcomes, you get so fired up and you put an 0 for 4 up, and that wasn't the case for Cain.
Yeah, tried too hard, right?
One pitch, Cain to right field, and that'll drop a base hit.
Well, get the 0 off the hit column. And so Lorenzo Cain able to dump a pretty good slider into right field right off the end of the bat. I mean, that's pretty good hitting right there. Just serving it out there into right field. First hit for Milwaukee.
After just joining us, the first inning run, Cain reached on a 2-base error, stole 3rd, and scored on a sacrifice fly from Jesus Aguilar. Here's Yelich. He's struck out of the first. On base percentage for Yelich still sitting at .391. How's this out of play?
Now, Udar is one of those guys with the kind of stuff he has, and he's always got the potential to no-hitter. He came close a few years ago. It was a Houston 9th inning, 2 outs. Somebody got a hit. He's come close. Electric pitches when he's on.
Split his time last year. 22 starts with the Rangers before being moved to the Dodgers. Started 9 games for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers in the regular season. It's a curveball on Yelich. 0-2 the count. He has everything. Lorenzo Cain, the runner at first. Part of the storyline last night for the Brewers, we mentioned they had only 6 hits in the game. 4 of them came with 2 outs and the bases empty. It was tough to get any kind of a rally going against Kyle Hendricks. Pitched 7 innings of 4-hit ball before Carl Edwards Jr. and Brandon Morrow came in to finish it up. Brewers saw Darvish at his best at Miller Park. Cubs rotation with a lot of very high expectations this season. The 1-2, Yelich, a strikeout victim for the 2nd time here early this afternoon. 3 punch-outs now for Yu Darvish. Gives up a 2-out single to Lorenzo Cain, but that was it. Bottom of the 3rd, 2-1 Cubs.
De Mayo celebration at Miller Park on Wednesday, May 5th. The Brewers host the Pirates, and fans who purchase a special Cinco de Mayo ticket package will take home a limited edition chorizo racing sausage bobble. Learn more at brewers.com/theme nights.
Anthony Rizzo leading off here in the 3rd for the Cubs. Rizzo, Contreras, and David Bodie. Rizzo RBI single in the 1st inning. Likes that off. Hangs in there, 0-2. Both Cubs runs coming in the 1st. And the 1-2. Pop up and long run for Shaw, and got to be careful there, crashing into that sidewall.
Yeah, concrete. Yeah, that doesn't move. Be careful. You're right.
Suter trying to settle in. Part of the habit for him after a rough inning. We mentioned Rizzo and the slow starts that he can get off to, but still a powerful hitter. And there's a ground ball. Sogard behind the bag, and there's out number one.
A couple of breaking balls that he missed with. Then he goes back to the fastball. This one was in. And Rizzo with a ground ball up the middle. Easy play for Sogard. So the off speed all of a sudden now setting up the fastball for Suter.
Brewers defense aligned perfectly. Here's Wilson Contreras. He took over the full-time role behind the plate last year and had a good year. Homered 21 times, drove in 74. Good on-base guy. Very tough to run against as he pops one up. It'll carry into the seats.
Got a lot of pop in this lineup for the Cubs. I really do. I mean, guys that have good bat speed, and they're starting to be a little bit more disciplined as they get through their careers. Not the wild swings that you saw from a lot of these guys early on.
Yeah, although he's not in the lineup, Chris Bryant is a shining example of that. He has really cut back his strikeouts. And there's a guy who's already been an MVP, a Rookie of the Year, so on and so forth. But 2015, he struck out 199 times. He's cut that way back.
Just understanding himself as a hitter. I mean, every hitter goes through that. Of course, not everybody, gets that many opportunities striking out that much, playing every day. I mean, you can put up with the strikeouts if you get the home run production.
Contreras takes strike two instead of what he thought was ball four. Suter with a payoff. Got him. Hasn't been getting a ton of swing and misses, but he gets one there for out number two.
Well, he's getting him at the right time, right, with two strikes. Two swing and misses by the Cubs, both of them coming for strike three. That one literally right down the middle at 85 miles an hour.
Who's David Bodie? Bouncing ball to Hernan Perez, and that's a very clean inning for Brent Suter, who is in fact settling back in. We're through three in a one-run game at Wrigley. Darvish, Jake Arrieta moving on to the Philadelphia Phillies. St. Louis Cardinals getting Marcell Ozuna. Trade with the Miami Marlins. The Pirates moving guy who was the face of their franchise for quite a while, Andrew McCutchen. The Giants, Garrett Cole moves to Houston. And of course the Brew Crew in late January on the same day, they get Christian Yelich via trade, and the free agent signing 5-year deal for Lorenzo Cain. Those new additions to this division. Yu Darvish getting ready to go to work here in the 4th inning. Who said nothing happened in the offseason?
Right. And I think the biggest question for the Cubs is going to be throughout the year, is the starting pitching going to be able to hold up? Darvish has been inconsistent. John Lester not getting any younger these days. And you know they're going to score runs. You know, the Chicago Cubs, that's a fact.
The Brewers have seen this staff at its best, but the starting pitching collectively for the Cubs ranks 12th in the National League in earned run average. The bullpen's been really good. Starters, you said, up and down. Jesus Aguilar, sacrifice fly in the 1st inning. A very, very good first month of the season. First career walk-off last Saturday night against the Marlins. Two balls, one strike. Part of the storyline for Aguilar when he gets in the starting lineup. He's had 7 starts. There's 3 3-hit games in that stretch. A lot of work off the bench, a lot of pinch hitting appearances.
A lot of confidence up there at the plate to take close pitches.
Rips one foul.
Covers both sides of the plate extremely well. He's quick on the inside corner. And able to cover the outer half, and even able to cover a little bit off the outside corner.
Full count to Aguilar. First hitter that Darvish has had a 3-ball count against. And here's the payoff. Aguilar didn't think so.
And pretty good pitch down and away with the breaking ball. Maybe a cutter. And check it out. Yeah, that's a strike. Cutter, slider, one of the two, but looked like a pretty good pitch.
Four strikeouts now for Darvish. He had 9 in his first outing against the Brewers this year. Here's Travis Shaw. Shaw struck out. That ended the first inning. Fly ball hit into shallow center field. Almora out number 2.
Had problems with the sun. With sun there is. And play it off to the side to get an angle on it. Almora made a really good catch against Lorenzo Cain last night in center field. Going back on the ball.
He's made a couple of highlight material catches just in the past week. They've settled on him at the top of the order as well. He has given Joe Madden a lot here, especially in these last couple of weeks. Here's Domingo Santana. Rounded out to Anthony Rizzo, his first time up. Here's the 1-0. Almost got him, able to scoot out of the way. Dangerously close to the hands there.
They're working him inside in this at bat.
A 2-for-3 night for Santana last night. The second hitter that Darvish has had a 3-ball count on. And the 3-1 on the way.
Yeah, cutter inside corner. I guess if you're the Cubs and you're watching Santana get a lot of base hits to right, what are you going to do, right? Pitch him inside.
Three-two pitch on the way. Foul ball off the foot. Mentioning that start from Darvish 5 years ago is with the Rangers. That was his first start of the year. Came within 1 out of a perfect game. And that was right out of the gate.
2 outs in the 9th inning. Marwin Gonzalez with a base hit up the middle.
Yep. It's a heck of a start to your year.
Right.
One more time, the payoff. There's his first walk of the afternoon as Santana. That bat right there. He's the 2-out base runner.
And that's been the problem for Darvish in his last couple of starts, the base on balls. 4 walks in each of his last 2 starts before today. First one today so far.
Here's Hernan Perez. Grounded to third. His first at bat this afternoon. Brewers have but 1 hit so far against Darvish. Couple of home runs for Perez. He has driven in 4. The home runs came on the last road trip. Which took the Brewers through St. Louis and into New York to play the Mets. Baseball's top utility players. Hernan Perez.
Yeah, trying to get the bat going.
Plays anywhere but catcher. And he would if you asked.
He's been known to strap the gear on and warm up a pitcher or two. He'd like to catch.
He told you that, right?
Yeah, he did.
One pitch.
I would imagine he'd prefer not to make a habit of it, though.
In an emergency. Pitched a couple times and lopsided games.
Played just about everywhere else but catch.
Drilled in 51 runs last year, 56 the year before. The 1-2. Another strikeout for Darvish. He now has 5 of them through the first 4 innings. Middle of the 4th. It's 2-1 Cubs. Get ready for all the fast-paced, heart-thumping action from the Super Speedway starting at 12:30 Central on Fox, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Bottom of the fourth at Wrigley Field as Ian Happ leads off against Brent Suter. All the scoring coming in the first inning. Happ trying to bunt his way on. One of those first-round draft picks into this organization, Ian Happ, played his college ball at the University of Cincinnati. 9th overall pick, 2015. Played all the outfield spots, handful of games at third. Chases one and does not get it. There's out number one here in the fourth.
Yeah, starting to get some swings and misses on that fastball. More the four-seam fastball than the cutter. They get these Cub hitters. It was obvious they were looking cutter early in the game, particularly in the first inning, and now they went away from it. And now it's been four-seamer, change-up. He's mixed in some curveballs. Got to make the adjustment. If you identify what they're trying to do to you, you got to do something else.
There's Addison Russell. Part of what we talked about, and not just specifically with Suter, throughout this staff, you see it throughout baseball. You can elevate that fastball, get him to chase, even if it's upper 80s, you can have some success.
Right. As long as you have decent command of off speed. Put a little bit of doubt in their minds when you throw the fastball.
Three and one the count to the Cubs shortstop. Bouncing ball, Sogard. Out number two.
Man, good hands right there for Sogard. That one took a funny hop right at the end. Momentum going toward the line. Yeah, quick release, and he gets the out.
Here's Jason Hayward. His two-base error led to the Brewers' first and only run here so far. They're starting to rack up the ground ball outs here, getting some strikeouts as well. 7 ground ball outs here so far from Suter.
He's only had the one fly ball out. That was Contreras in the first.
Ball a strike to Hayward. Year 3 of an 8-year contract for Hayward with the Cubs. It's not that big deal after an impressive year at the plate. St. Louis in 2015, he hit .293. He's not been close to those numbers since. Here's the 1-2.
He's a guy that you can pitch hard in every now and again, but got to be ahead in the count, put it where you want it. Pulling the ball a little bit more these days.
Battling Suter right here.
One of the things that made him so effective in St. Louis, and even his days with the Braves, was his ability to go to left field. We haven't really seen a whole lot of that with Hayward over the last couple of years. Maybe one of the reasons why the average is down a little bit.
He burst onto the scene with the Braves in 2010, had the dream first game as a Brave, was actually runner-up for Rookie of the Year to Buster Posey that season. Fouling off 5 straight pitches, he takes ball 2. Suter looking for back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings, and Hayward will need a new bat.
It's amazing how those bats break, isn't it?
It really is.
I mean, right down the center of it.
A little different from back in the day, huh?
Yeah, they'd break, but they wouldn't break in half as much. And they would never do that. The way this thing splinters right down the middle. Check that out. Look what he's holding in his hand. Like a javelin.
Suter has retired the last 8. 2-2 pitch to Hayward. Bouncer over to Hernan Perez. That's 9 in a row now that Brent Suter has retired. We are through 4 at Wrigley with the Cubs up a run.
Mobile at Great American Ballpark. The Braves had called up their top prospect, 20-year-old outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr. And in just his 6th plate appearance, his first big league home run, going second deck at Great American Ballpark. That went 416 feet, also part of a 3-hit game for Acuna. Again, just his 2nd game in the big leagues after making his major league debut on Wednesday. He would also go ahead to hit the game-winning double in the 8th. So not a bad introduction to the big leagues for Acuna.
No, not bad at all. He can fly.
Yeah.
He can really run.
And it looks like he can hit a little bit.
Yeah, he's not bad. At least he's off to a really nice start.
Right.
Let's see if the Brewers can start to get to Yu Darvish here in the early returns of 2018. The 5th inning has been the rugged one for Darvish. He's given up 12 runs. His first handful of starts in the 5th. Bottom of the order here for Milwaukee, Sogard, Pena, and then Suter.
Really no explaining that number right there. 5th inning. I guess you're like, you're midway through the 2nd time through the batting order if you're throwing well. Sometimes when you're not. 3rd time through, they're getting a chance to look at your pitches a little bit more.
Two balls, 1 strike to Sogard. .273 with the Brewers last year, doing the bulk of the work in the first half of the season. Up with an injury not long before the All-Star break. 2-1 pitch.
He's had good command of the fastball today as Yu Darvish early in the count, and then trying to put the Brewers away with a slider, which is not often in the strike zone. And talking to the folks around this club, they'll tell you that it's really been the fastball command that's been the problem for him. Not so much the breaking stuff.
2-2 to Sogard. Well, we talked about that early in the season. No matter what you have, what kind of off-speed pitches you have, what might be a go-to, it does start with the fastball command, right?
Yeah. Normally fastball away sets up the other stuff. If you don't have command with a fastball, good luck to you out there. We saw a very good fastball command for two guys yesterday, Hendricks and Anderson.
Hendricks anything but a hard thrower. Neither would be categorized as a flamethrower, but Anderson a couple of ticks harder than Hendricks, but both were on point last night. 2-2. Another strikeout. And 6 of them now for Yu Darvish.
95 with that last fastball. You see it, 95 with movement going away from Sogard. That's a ton of movement at that velocity.
Mentioned that near perfect game he threw in 2013. He had a league best 277 strikeouts for the Rangers that season. Facing Manny Pena now. Pena grounded to short in the 3rd inning. Very consistent pitcher in his career at missing bats. He recorded his 1,000th career strikeout in his 812th inning.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Just piles them up.
Yeah, you're considered a strikeout pitcher if you have as many strikeouts as innings pitched. That goes well beyond that.
Yeah, 11 per 9 in his career. And even when you say the strikeout numbers are down, and they are for him, it's still about 9.5 per 9. A lot of pitchers would take that in a flash.
And what's Josh Hader? What's he? 19, 20?
Yeah, right around there. He's in his own world right now.
Yeah, right.
The 1-2 to Pena. Yeah, it's an upset now when Hader doesn't strike out 3 in any given outing. But 18.2 per 9 right now for Josh.
Exaggerate a little bit.
18, 19, 20, you know, right around there.
Yeah, that's something.
Off speed, 64.
That's not fair. Curveball like that. First one of those we've seen. Look at how quick the break is going down at that velocity. That's not easy to do. 64 miles an hour going straight down. First one of those he's thrown. Hang with him, Manny. Not much you can do about that.
3 strikeouts in a row for Darvish going back to the end of the last inning. And yeah, there you go. Brent Suter break up that little trend with a 2-out single.
That just pokes the bat out there on a first pitch fastball, and that base hit for Suter. There you go. Has a little tail going away from Suter, and he's able to barrel it up. Base hit in the center field. That's a pretty good swing. He knows what he's doing up there. Yep. Good work.
There's Lorenzo Cain. His day at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Kane reached on a 2-base error in the first inning, came around to score, also stole third. And he singled to right field his last time at the plate. That hit by Suter, just the second of the day for Milwaukee.
What do you think, this will be a jacket day for a pitcher if he's on base?
You would think. It must be really warm out in that sun today, Rock.
It must be. Either that or Suter is not aware that he can actually go ask for a jacket.
You know, I'm thinking it might be the latter.
That may be.
Right now he's telling Carlos Sabero it's kind of chilly out here. You know?
Yeah, you think, am I allowed to have a jacket?
1-0 to Kane.
I mean, it's got to be a little chilly out there because look at the first base umpire, Eric Cooper. He's all bundled up. He's got gloves on. Suter out there, no sleeves.
Well, it's, you know, the bleachers is nice and warm.
That's nothing to Brewers fans. This is a heat wave.
Kind of hot out here. 2-0.
Well, let's see if Lorenzo Cain's swinging at this 3-0 pitch. Figure out a way to get the Brewers a lead here.
To really get into one to leave the yard this afternoon. Caught the corner.
Well, it seems like the wind has shifted a little bit. It's going from right to left. Not so much blowing straight in, or is that just my imagination?
Well, you know what? Right there. Maybe you can drive one out of here to left. Let's find out. Here's a 3-1. Oh, he wanted to. Darvish with 7 strikeouts through the first 4 2/3. Suter reached to the 2-out single. Lorenzo Cain trying to keep the line moving. And here's the 3-2. Cain works him for a walk. Second walk allowed by Darvish.
And pretty close pitch. This is what you like about Lorenzo Cain. Just at the bottom of the strike zone, just misses the knees at 95. Tough pitch to take, but out of the strike zone.
This is the first inning where the Brewers have had a couple of base runners. Christian Yelich, a chance to pick him up. Eight RBIs for Yelich. This is game 15 for him. He's on the 10-day DL. Came off early last week. Darvish having a touch of trouble locating here at the moment.
And it's the fastball too.
I mentioned the 5th inning has been a trouble inning for Darvish. A snap throw. Strong arms and no fear behind the plate for Pena for the Brewers, Contreras for the Cubs.
Yeah, just such quick feet. That snap throw, sidearm throw to first base. Cubs are taking a peek at it. Rizzo trying to knock the hand off the bag too.
Ball a strike to Yelich. Suter the runner at second, Kane at first. Just trying to get the ball in play here. A couple of strikeouts for him so far today. A ball, 2 strikes. And the 1-2. Brewers have had the luxury now for the last several games of having Kane and Yelich 1-2 in the batting order. About a 3-week stretch where they didn't have that. For a couple of weeks stretch anyway.
Yeah, no coincidence. They wrapped off a 8-game winning streak in the process.
Darvish again will load up for a 1-2 offering. And a little tapper. Darvish to Rizzo to win the inning. The Brewers will strand a pair here in the 5th. Halfway through this second game, it's still 2-1 Chicago. Here at Wrigley Field. Brewers fans toughing it out here in the friendly confines, they call it. I don't see any Cub fans in there giving them any grief, though. It's good. No abuse.
You know, it's a gentler, kinder Wrigley Field these days.
So it truly is the friendly confines?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Not that it was ever real bad to start with, but
true.
I think Brewer fans, Cub fans getting along better these days. Of course, you can't convince Miller Park security of that. Always a tussle or two in the seats.
A tussle or two. Yu Darvish leading off here in the 5th. Oh, but 99%, you just enjoy each other's company, right?
Yeah. Rooftops today, not much going on.
Nah, that breeze might be a little bit tough up there.
The rooftops that are left, the big scoreboards they put in.
Yeah, you might have to be braving it a little bit to be up there today. And they continue to make some improvements here at Wrigley Field. Visitors clubhouse still about the size of a closet, maybe 2 closets put together, but they have a hitting cage down there now.
Well, clubhouse still the way it was when Hack Wilson was here.
Darvish a base hit, and it gets by Domingo Santana, and Darvish will stop at second, take a spill, and then try to look cool.
Well, both pitchers with base hits today. That one, a bullet down the line and right. Well, Santana couldn't cut it off. That's a pretty good swing on a fastball away. I guess Domingo would have taken a different angle. I think it was hit harder than he thought it was. And Darvish, a little slip. Look out. Gets back to second base.
Here is Albert Almora Jr. And he lays one down, but he bunted it too hard. It's an easy play for Suter as Darvish has to hold at second. Thank you very much. Second career double for Yu Darvish. But Almora unable to move him up.
Well, didn't have many at-bats with the Texas Rangers in the American League. Interleague play, but that was it.
Here's Javier Baez.
And a completely different approach for Brent Suter, first inning and on. First inning, cutters in, they were all over him, 4 hits. And until Darvish got that double, had not allowed a hit since the first inning.
In fact, he had retired 9 straight. He gave up a leadoff walk to Jason Hayward in the second, and then was rolling along.
Man, really good job of adjusting. He and Manny Pena adjusting the plan of attack.
2 balls, no strikes to Baez. That was a big time cut. He's homered 7 times this season as Baez. 3 in the midst of his hitting streak, which is now at 10. The 2-1 down the line and right, a foul ball. Just did miss.
He's a line-to-line guy now. He used to be a dead pull hitter. And misses by about a foot.
Well, we saw his hops last night, taking away a hit from Ryan Braun. Two and two the count with Darvish the runner at second. And a tapper back to Suter. Play is at first, and again Darvish goes nowhere. 2 men out. That's pretty good work here from Suter, the 2 hot hitters that he has retired.
You know, just check out the pattern that Suter and Pena have established since the first inning. First inning cutters in, 4 hits, 2 runs, and ever since that time it's been curveballs, changeups, and fastballs away, and fastballs up in the strike zone. Yeah, getting some swings and misses. So a very good job by Suter and Pena today to adjust on the fly after really having a difficult time in the first inning.
10 ground ball outs now from Brent Suter. Darvish dancing around out there. Here's Rizzo. talked about his career splits. After the month of April, that's when he gets things cranked up. Chases and does not get it. Suter trying to work out of trouble here in inning number 5. And there's a liner in the right, and Santana is there. As Suter gives up a leadoff double, that's it. It remains a 2-1 lead for the Cubs. Playoff battle at Bucks.com/Fox Sports Wisconsin is your hub for verified authentic tickets for all Bucks playoff home games. Visit Bucks.com/Fox Sports Wisconsin today for a full schedule of Bucks postseason games and for information on Bucks playoff ticket options. Speaking of which, a big day on Fox Sports Wisconsin tomorrow. Brewers Cubs series coming your way. Game 3 tomorrow. Brewers live starts at 12:30, and then at 6:30. It's the Bucks and the Celtics, Game 7. Tune in. You don't want to miss it. All the Game 7 action plus extensive pre- and post-game coverage tomorrow on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
We're going to be able to watch that basketball game tomorrow night.
Yes, we are. Taking it to the limit.
Yep.
Protecting the home floor last night. That's fun. Game 7s are special no matter the sport. Bucks trying to advance. One-run game here in Chicago, and Jesus Aguilar will be leading things off. Trying to get something started. Yu Darvish with 7 strikeouts. He's allowed just a couple of hits through the first 5.
Yeah, he was on base the entire inning. When the Cubs are up, you wonder how it's going to affect him. He's not used to being on the bases too much. He's only got 5 career hits, so running the bases is something new to him.
As he might have hinted or given us a hint as he stumbled going around second. Aguilar, a sac fly and a called 3rd strike that he took in the 4th inning. Last inning was the first where the Brewers had as many as 2 base runners. And Aguilar with a very high fly ball into left field. Ian Happ toward the line for out number 1.
Yeah, that ball got held up, didn't it? Ian Happ just had, he went over the line and had to come in.
That sac fly from Aguilar in the 1st inning would have left this park on any number of days, just not today. Steve Cishek now getting loose in the Cubs bullpen.
The indoor bullpens here at Wrigley Field under the bleachers,
where various dance competitions take place. Here's Travis Shaw. Shaw strike out and a fly to center. The deepest that Darvish has gone into a game is 6 innings, and that was his first start against the Brewers on April 7th. Pitch count starting to climb a bit, thus Cishek is warming up. It's out of the way as that bounced well in front of the plate.
pretty good work by the home plate umpire to get out of the way of that. Light on his feet. Stu Sherwater.
A ball, 2 strikes to Travis Shaw. Missed the way. He has walked 2. He has struck out 7. Shaw works into a full count. 3-ball counts, something Darvish was able to avoid in the early innings, but now Brewers able to grind out some at-bats against him.
I don't think that Joe Maddon's going to hesitate to bring his bullpen on here. He's been a good pen all year, or at least in the month of April.
There's the payoff. In the air to left field. Happ for out number 2. What do you think?
It's not that cold for Santa Claus, is it?
Saw guys in shorts.
Yeah.
Come on now. They've had a lot colder games here than this.
Right.
Already had a snow out or 2 here at Wrigley. This is just their 9th home game.
Yeah, Brewers have been here on a number of occasions in April where it's been much worse.
Oh yeah.
Cold, wind, rain, you name it.
Here's Domingo Santana. A relatively balmy 55 at first pitch.
Remember the rain out last year with no rain?
Yeah, it turned into, you got sunburned, didn't you?
We haven't brought that up this year. It was kind of a day like today, wasn't it?
Maybe a little warmer.
Yeah,
even.
right.
Middle of May, I think.
Greg Counsell said it was the first time he had a rain out where his players got sunburned.
Well, we can laugh now because the Brewers came back here on a one-and-done stop before going on to play the Yankees. And Brewers came here and won in a rout.
Yeah.
Went on to New York, won 2 out of 3 in that series, but right before the All-Star break. Well, was bouncing another one. Cubs still have a couple of games they have to make up. Had several games postponed. They were able to get back a couple of them already, but still a few they have to cover. Brewers have avoided that at least so far. Just misses inside. A full count to Santana. Santana worked Darvish for a walk in the 4th inning. Here's the 3-2. And there's a shot into left field, and that is going to get to the wall. Santana on his way to second with a double. There you go.
Elevated that one, didn't he? They've been pounding him inside the entire day. This time Santana looking for it in there. He's got those quick hands and able to hit one over the head of Happ out there and left. All day long, pitches right in there, and this time Santana ready for it and puts a good swing on it. Man in scoring position with 2 outs. Brewers have been doing a lot of damage. They're getting a lot of base runners in this series. 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, that was a theme last night. 4 of their 6 hits came in that scenario. Second extra base hit of this young season for Santana. Joe Madden has had Steve Cishek warming up. We'll have Darvish face Hernan Perez. Trying to get RBI number 5. It would tie the game if he can get that done. He's down 0-2. Only faced Darvish a couple of times prior to today. Mentioned the only Brewer with any kind of a sample size is Eric Sogard. Kane as well. Sogard has had a fair amount of success. Tried to burn the corner and missed.
95 still has plenty of velocity on that fastball.
A ball, 2 strikes with Santana at second. And the 1-2. Had to win the inning. Strikeout number 8 for Yu Darvish as the Brewers strand a runner in scoring position. Move to the bottom of the 6th, still a 1-run game.
And infielder Mauricio Dubon in AAA with Colorado Springs is currently on a 15-game hitting streak. Impressive stuff for the infielder. 338 average, 2 homers in that streak, 11 RBIs for him as well, and 5 doubles on the season. He's hitting .324 with 12 RBIs, and his OPS very high, 838 over the course of 18 games. The 11th best prospect for the Brewers, just 23 years old. Great to see Dubon off to a great start.
Yeah, off to an excellent start. Saw him in spring training. Maybe more last year than
more last year than this year. But boy, not only with the bat, but boy, he keeps me picking. He's got a terrific arm as Taylor Williams takes over for Suter here in the 6th inning. We last saw Williams, that was in Kansas City on Wednesday, a scoreless 9th inning that included a couple of strikeouts.
Faces Wilson Contreras. This Brewers bullpen has worked the last 29 innings without allowing an earned run. It's been a great stretch. We'll see how long you can maintain that and try to keep this game close.
And we talk a lot about adjustments and how pitchers, hitters have to make adjustments, and sometimes you're not sure what that actually means. But what Brent Suter did today from the 1st inning on, after the 1st inning, is a perfect example of a guy understanding what an offense is trying to do to him and make an adjustment based on that. And he did a heck of a job getting through 5 innings.
Yeah, he's really been, we talked about it, his last couple of outings where he's had a tough inning. He gave up a 3 spot against the Reds, likewise against the Marlins. Then he settles in, and he retired 12 of his last 13 here today. Now we'll see if the Brewers A, bullpen can keep it going, and then B, see if the bats can start to come alive. Offense has been stymied here so far in this series with the Cubs.
Big contrast right here in styles between Brett Suter and now Williams. Williams throwing in the upper 90s. Suter throwing in the upper 80s.
A full count to Wilson Contreras. Cubs with just 5 hits. Five innings of 5-hit 2-run ball for Suter, a walk and 3 strikeouts. Payoff pitch. In that last outing in Kansas City, Williams gave up a leadoff double and then took care of business from there, getting a couple of strikeouts. Contreras with a fly ball hit back in the left field. It hangs up in the air for Yelich to run it down. First out of the inning.
Yeah, got it down on the handle a little bit. Kept it in the ballpark. Nice running catch by Yelich. Hey, let's check out today's timer of the game as we celebrate that last catch. It's the Vault Wine Bar and Lounge in Reedsburg. If they call the Brewers by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Cheers. Nice catch, Christian Yelich.
Celebrate. Standing ovation. Good catch. Here's Bodie into center field, and Lorenzo Cain has it tracked, 2 men out.
That's Friday. Got to figure out a transition somehow.
Very smooth. Very smooth. Here's Ian Happ. What's Friday, man?
Of course, you don't need to really transition time of the game. That's the best part of the broadcast.
You cherish the moment.
Yeah.
I always think of that game where Craig Kashan had to handle the read for you. They threw you off for a couple of days, didn't they? Was that last year?
Yeah, well, they actually threw him off. I think I was in Toronto, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
You were busy.
I was busy, but innings. You know, if I'm busy doing something else at that given time, maybe wait an inning.
So you're going to throw somebody under the bus there?
No, would never do that.
Our producer today is Brent Reeland. Our director is Renardo Lowe. But we would never, or you would
Never call anybody out. No, never.
I do think Craig felt badly about it, but no, he didn't. He enjoyed it.
He thought he did a pretty good job with it until I got back and I saw him reading it. I gave him the eye, and
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of things that I call my own in this broadcast, but that's it.
If you are ever busy when I am sitting in for BA, Sophia will be the one who reads Tabor to the game.
Yeah.
I can't handle the pressure. I know she can.
Yep. Well, she's a good distance away from our booth.
For which she is very grateful every day. He offered up. Hap did. That'll end the inning. Taylor Williams retires the side in order. Move to the 7th. 2-1 Cubs. Up the scoring right away. A sacrifice fly off the bat of Jesus Aguilar, bringing home Lorenzo Cain. Cubs had 2 of their own in the bottom of the 1st inning. Anthony Rizzo, this run scoring single. The Cubs grabbed a 2-1 lead after inning number 1, and Yu Darvish has kept it that way. What a very good outing for him at the expense of the Brew Crew. 6 innings of 3-hit shutout ball.
He's been able to minimize the walks and keep the strikeout totals up against Milwaukee. Yeah, but the Brewers still in this one, only down 2-1 as Steve Cishek takes over in the 7th inning. 12th appearance, a .225 earned run average. He last appeared in the game on the 24th against the Indians in Cleveland, a scoreless inning.
Faces the bottom of the Milwaukee batting order. Sogard, a fly ball and a strikeout. Best years for Cishek came a few years back with the Marlins.
'60 or more relief appearance in 4 of the last 6 years. He's been pretty dependable. The owner of 121 career saves.
3-0 to Sogard. And a 4-pitch walk to open up the top half of the 7th inning.
Wow. Just showing up the home plate umpire right there. That looked like it was right at the knees. And Joe Madden giving it to Sherwater, the home plate umpire. Pretty good pitch.
Guard will take it. Here's Manny Pena. Ryan Braun moving into the on-deck circle here for the Brew Crew. Brewers trying to stack some base runners. They've been unable to do that here so far, and this is how you're going to get that done as Pena singles to left field. Motoring to third is Sogard. The Brewers have runners at the corners with nobody out.
Cishek trying to get Pena up and in. He's able to turn on it down the line. Just like last night with Kyle Hendricks on the mound. You take him out and everybody's got to look better than these starters for the Cubs right now. And not nearly the velocity for Cishek as Yu Darvish. And with the base hit down the line, Sogard able to get to third base. So the Brewers set up nicely in this inning.
Well, here's Ryan Braun. He comes off the bench this afternoon. A couple of hits in 4 pinch hit appearances. One of those hits a 3-run homer. That was the home run in the last homestand that got Braun to 1,000 career RBIs.
Going to take a monumental blast to get one out of here today.
Check out the Powerball home run leaderboard. Eric Thames, who's on the DL, but he is still atop the leaderboard with 7. Braun and Shaw with 5. Lorenzo Cain with 3. Braun had a couple of hits last night. And a terrific play at first base as he sends a fly ball into center field. Shallow. Albert Almora Jr. to catch. And the runners go nowhere. Out number 1.
They got him out in front of the breaking pitch that time. And Almora getting his momentum toward home plate. No chance for Sogard. Yeah, spinner that was down the middle of the plate, but the speed had Braun out in front. And with the wind blowing that ball back toward the infield, no chance for Sogard to score on that.
So 1 away. Runners remain at first and third for Lorenzo Cain. He has reached all 3 plate appearances. 2-base error to start the game. Jason Hayward misplaying a fly ball. Cain eventually came around to score on the Aguilar sacrifice fly. A single to right and a walk also for the Milwaukee center fielder. Two balls, no strikes.
Got to make sure he gets one up in the strike zone. You don't want to get one of those sinkers down and hit into a double play.
Cishek having trouble finding the strike zone here in the 7th.
Getting upset with the home plate umpire. That's not going to help you.
Rio pitch. Walk to Sogard, a single from Pena. A fly ball from Braun. 3-1 on the way. Little chopper, and it's a foul ball. Cishek has battled back. A full count now to Lorenzo Cain. Ryan Dunsing, the left-hander. Pedro Strop also in the bullpen for Chicago. Payoff pitch, and the bases are loaded. Second walk given up by Steve Cishek. And it looks like Madden's going to make a move. Brewers have something going. The runners are stacked for the first time in this series for Milwaukee. With the left-handed hitting Christian Yelich coming to the plate, Madden will be turning to his left-hander. He has three options. Three left-handed options. He'll go with Dunsing. It's a one-run game, but the Brewers with a big threat in the seventh. One, bases loaded, one out. Lefty versus lefty here is Yelich at the plate. Brian Dunsing on the mound.
It has not allowed an earned run yet this year. 2 of 10 inherited runners have scored when he's been in the game. Hasn't pitched since the 21st. It's been a while for him.
Left-handed pitching has not bothered Yelich a lot. He is 7 for 20 against lefties this year. Tough day so far. A couple of strikeouts and a tapper back to the mound. Here's the 1-0. 8 RBIs for Christian Yelich.
We're giving Yelich a lot of room out in left center. Figuring he's probably going to go the other way with left-hander on the mound. Got Almora shaded way around toward left.
Couple of walks and a Pena single. That's how the Brewers have the bases loaded. Strike 2 is Dunsing.
Yeah, between innings, Joe Madden was campaigning with the home plate umpire to maybe widen that strike zone. He might have got a call right there.
We got the benefit on the curveball. A ball, 2 strikes to Yelich. All the runs coming in the first inning this afternoon. The 1-2. And there's a fly ball hit back into right field. Hayward near the corner will make the catch. It will tie the game as Sogard tags, and it's a 2-2 ball game at Wrigley.
Good job by Yelich on a 2-strike pitch to lift one deep out there. Boy, how many times do you say that at Wrigley Field on a different day?
You're right.
Wind blowing straight in from right field right now. A hanging slider, and he nearly hit it out of here. but he was able to tie the game. That ball was crushed.
Sogard scores. Pena moves to third. It's one and done for Brian Dunsing. Brewers with a run in, looking for more here in the seventh. Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lights. Great taste at only 96 calories. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Both Brewers runs this afternoon scoring via the sacrifice fly. Christian Yelich driving in Eric Sogard. So now the inning continues. Pedro Strop on the mound here for Chicago against Jesus Aguilar. At third, Kane the runner at first.
Yeah, good numbers for Strop, the hard thrower. Good slider to go with it. Yeah, 11th game at 289 earned run average.
Aguilar rips one, but foul. After the sacrifice fly, Aguilar has struck out and fly to left field. The ball a strike. And this is sent in the air, shallow center field. Albert Almora Jr. will squeeze it for out number 3. Brewers score a run, but they strand a pair. Stretch time at Wrigley Field. Brewers and Cubs are tied at 2.
Foundation harnesses the pride, passion, and commitment of Brewers fans, players, and other supporters to positively impact the community. The foundation focuses on health, education, recreation, and basic needs. So BCF thanks you for your support. Some bullpen news for you. Boone Logan has been out since opening day with a left triceps injury, but today the Brewers sent him out on a minor league rehab assignment. He'll be in Double-A with the Biloxi Shuckers, and they're hoping that they can get a few appearances for Logan there, and he'll likely stay with them for a few days. They'd like to see him do some back-to-back appearances, make sure that there's no lingering soreness or anything with that triceps injury. So Logan will be out on minor league rehab assignment for likely the next week or so.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. A step closer to getting some of these newer guys back into the fold. Ryan Braun will remain in the game and will play first base now for Milwaukee. And Dan Jennings is on the mound as well as he faces Addison Russell.
Yeah, the pitcher's spot now is in the number 3 spot in the batting order in place of Aguilar. Dan Jennings has been very good. They picked him up when Boone Logan actually got hurt in spring training. They have 14 appearances now and a 150 earned run average. He's been outstanding. He and Jeremy Jeffers, kind of the unsung heroes in that bullpen.
0-1 pitch to Russell. Yeah, you're right. They have both pitched this team out of some very tight spots in the 6th inning, 7th inning. Jennings a very good ground ball pitcher.
Yeah, tough call once Boone Logan comes back. Who do you send out? I mean, they've all been tremendous.
Boone Logan and Wade Miley both injured on the same day the last full week of spring training. Game in Maryvale. Slider in there to even the count.
Yeah, throw strikes. He's got a good mix of fastball, slider. And he gets a lot of ground ball outs.
A 2-2 pitch. And there's a ground ball. Tough play for Sogard. No play for Sogard. Russell is on.
Got the ground ball. Unfortunately, no play for Sogard on it. Well, not a whole lot you can do about that. I mean, it really wasn't that great a contact, but put it in a good spot did Russell. A leadoff base runner in the 7th.
The Brewers have a lot of infield hits, but they've had a lot go against them as well. Russell is on here to begin the inning for Jason Hayward. Good time for a ground ball right now. The Brewers have turned 25 double plays. Only the Rockies and the Braves have turned more, and just one more for both of those clubs. Hayward trying to bunt, and he pushes it right to Ryan Braun, who will apply the tag. It works. Sacrifice bunt for Hayward as Russell moves to second.
You don't see that very often, do you? I guess lefty versus lefty with Hayward at the plate. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that on his own. I doubt Joe Madden's going to ask Hayward to drop down a bunt there. And you can do that with your number 8 hitter when you know you're going to pinch hit for the pitcher spot.
That's exactly what they're doing with the switch hitting catcher Victor Caratini. See the overall numbers, but he hits much better from the left side of the plate. Some 100 points better. Russell, the runner at second. Jennings missing with a slider. You see it, so in theory the Brewers have him where they want him.
Caratini 3 for 14 is all as a right-handed hitter.
Here's the 1-0. And still has, looking to the later innings here, Kyle Schwarber and Tommy LaStella available, and Chris Bryant maybe yes, maybe no, but not in the lineup again today. 2-0. Dan Jennings, one of 5 Brewers relievers with an ERA of 1.5 or less. Ready with a 2-1. And there is a base hit to right field. Well, not challenging the arm of Domingo Santana. Russell will hold at third. The Brewers up against it now in the 7th inning. Cubs with runners at the corners and 1 out.
Well, they held Russell right at the last minute. You know, third base coach Butterfield was way down the line, about 2/3 the way to home plate. After this fastball in, 4th hit for Caratini as a right-handed batter. Check out the third base coach. He's way down there making sure that Santana's throw is going to be on line. Well, the Brewers have an opportunity to get out of this mess with the ground ball.
Council will make a call down to the bullpen. It's a tie game at 2, but the Cubs are threatening here in the bottom of the 7th. Infield single from Addison Russell. He advances on a sacrifice bunt. Victor Caratini with a single to right. So runners at first and third, 1 out, and now Jeremy Jeffress trying to get out of the jam.
You know, Jeremy's been pretty good with inherited runners. He's inherited 10 runners, only 1 have scored. That'll be put to the test big time right here. And last time we saw Jeremy was Tuesday at Kansas City, 2/3 scoreless.
Time and again he has come up big in this first month of the season. He'll face the top of the order now, Albert Almora Jr. His first inning double now gives him a 10-game hitting streak. He has since struck out and grounded out. Last at bat he was trying to bunt Yu Darvish over to third, but bunted it too hard back to the mound.
Tough guy to double up. He runs pretty well.
He's rolled into just 1 double play ground ball this season. The 1-0. Fastball to even the count.
Jeffress pitching with a lot of confidence right now. He's got 3 pitches that he's not afraid to throw in any count, including that split change.
The ball is strike to Albert Almora. Blow by.
They have velocity and movement for Jeremy Jeffress. That one started off the edge and then caught the outside corner.
The ball, 2 strikes to the Cubs center fielder. He struck him out.
It's been amazing to watch Jeremy Jeffress. 94 sinking under the hands of Almora to get the huge strikeout. That's just a good pitch off the corner. Didn't have to throw a strike. Ahead in the count.
Good run on that pitch as well. So 2 men out here in the 7th. Another hot hitter at the plate, and Javier Baez, run scoring single for him in the 1st inning, 2 ground outs since. And a bouncer, Sogard knocks it down. The throw is wide, the run is in. Cubs take the lead here in the 7th.
We're talking about how good the defense has been for a long stretch for the Brewers, but that's a killer right there. Sogard with an easy force out at second. All you got to do is pick it up. Dropped out of the glove and not able to get anybody, so the Cubs take the lead on an E6. That hurts. Keep it in the glove, flip it over to Perez, and the inning's over.
Here's Rizzo. A single drove in a run in the 1st inning off Brent Suter. So the Cubs break the tie. Caratini is the runner at second. Baez at first. The 1-0 to Rizzo. Brewers are on the brink of getting out of the inning. Now it's 3-0 to Anthony Rizzo. Contreras is on deck. Three balls, 1 strike to Rizzo. 1-run game last night, a 1-run game right now here at Wrigley Field. Jeffress battling back, now full count.
Plenty of the plate right there. Not sure what Rizzo's upset about. Clearly a strike.
Not even borderline.
No.
Runners will be on the move. Payoff pitch. We'll do it again. Jeffress ready with a 3-2 in the air to center. Here comes Kane to make the catch. Snags the liner off the bat of Anthony Rizzo. Cubs pick up a run. We move to the 8th. 3-2 the score.
Eighth inning, and put your baseball expertise to the test by downloading Beat the Streak free for your smartphone or tablet. Pick a player to get a hit every day, and if you build a streak of 57 games, you'll take home $5.6 million.
That is a deal. See if the Brewers can make their fans here at Wrigley Field cheer a little bit. Thought the crew was about to get out of the inning, but Cubs get an unearned run. Scoring on an error from the shortstop Eric Sogard. So Brew Crew down a run as Travis Shaw will lead things off against Carl Edwards Jr.
Yeah, battle of two pretty good bullpens here at Wrigley Field. Edwards pitched in last night's ball game, a scoreless 8th inning. 12th appearance overall for him, earned run average under 1.
Shaw, Santana, and Perez here in the 8th inning for Milwaukee. Back to last year, and Edwards was very good against left-handed hitters. Held him to a 119 average a season ago. Two strikes and nothing to Travis Shaw.
Yeah, he can rush it up there pretty good, tall and thin, and kind of just pops out of his hand quickly. He's got a good overhand curveball to go with it. Been very effective for the Cubs.
73 appearances for Chicago last year. 2-strike pitch.
Don't see many pitchers with single digits on their backs, do you?
No.
Number 6.
Shaw got a piece. Mike Leake still wearing single digits. I think he is number 8 still. Contreras is going to need a couple of minutes here. Send down an athletic trainer to take a look at the catcher, Wilson Contreras.
Yeah, according to the Cubs notes, he's the 5th Cubs pitcher to wear a single-digit uniform number. Now, Cubs have been around a while.
I've heard that. That's the old scoreboard stumper right there. Come up with the others who have worn single-digit numbers.
Yeah, well,
we'll get a crew on that.
We have verified that Mike Leake is indeed number 8, but bottom line is there aren't too many.
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that most folks will struggle with the answer to that question. The other Cubs pitchers to wear single-digit numbers.
Household names? I guess no.
Old Wimpy Quinn did. Ball, 2 strikes to Shaw. Travis looking for his first hit of the series. He was 0 for 4 last night. He's hit the ball hard a couple of times, though. Has yet to be rewarded.
It's that classic combination, the high fastball, big curveball. Big curveball pitchers normally would do that. You know, Don Sutton did that. Bert Blyleven. Those two are pretty good.
They were okay. The 2-2. Edwards, a lanky guy, as you can see, 6'3". They list him at $170. Long and lean.
Yeah.
Good battle here with Travis Shaw. And it's now a full count. Brewers tied the game with the run in the top of the 7th. The Cubs regained the edge with an unearned run in the bottom of the inning. 10th pitch of the at bat coming up. Edwards to Travis Shaw. And Edwards will need an 11th. Fighting off some pitches here in this at bat from Carl Edwards Jr. Pitch number 11 on the way. And Shaw pops this one up with a bloop. That'll be handled by Addison Russell for the first out of the inning. $37, make that 35,000 plus here at Wrigley Field this afternoon. Whipping off the lake a little bit. Not bad in the sun, not quite so nice in the shade. Folks down the left field line. Here's Domingo Santana. Might need an extra layer down there.
Yeah.
A little less population at the moment down the left field line. Santana in his last at bat doubled. I see a little more comfortable there. He'll chase the sun. Santana has also walked in this game. The double, just his second extra base hit of the season. What's a strike 2 call? Curveball again from Carl Edwards Jr. Just 4 hits for the Brewers. They had 6 last night. The 1-2. Fly ball to center. Almora will put this away for out number 2. Here's Hernan Perez. Brewers bats have been kept quiet. Some very good Cubs pitching, pretty good Brewers pitching too, we might add.
Yeah, this has been a well-pitched series so far. Needless to say with the scores.
A couple of errors both sides leading to runs. Brewers getting an unearned run in the first, and the Cubs an unearned run in the 7th. Perez, a ground ball and a couple of strikeouts. Here's the 1-0.
These are the kind of games you get at Wrigley Field early in the season, though, with the wind blowing in, low-scoring affairs, and later in the season, a lot of these fly balls that have been hit, home runs.
One pitch to Perez. Swings and hits this one in the air. A little pop up. It'll be Javier Baez. And that's out number 3. Carl Edwards Jr. puts down the Brew Crew in order. Bottom of the 8th, 3-2 Cubs. The Brew Crew. Hey, talk about a barrel of fun. Brewers group ticket packages start at just $6 per seat for groups of 25 or more. Plus, you can take your outing to the next level by reserving tailgate space, seating blocks, all-inclusive areas, and more. Learn more at brewers.com/groups. So look at that. Cubs fans, Brewer fans, they all get along. Here's Oliver Drake. Now on the mound for Milwaukee.
One big happy family here at Wrigley.
Really is.
Yep, Oliver Drake, 10th appearance, the .591 earned run average. Don't be fooled, he's been throwing the baseball well. It's really only been one outing, one bad one, that has got that earned run average up there.
And that was against Cincinnati. Otherwise, his ERA is less than 1. He faces Wilson Contreras. Has been a part of this effective bullpen. The inning streak without allowing an earned run continues. Remember, the Cubs did score, but it was unearned in the 7th. Contreras, Bodie, and Happ for the Cubs in the bottom of the 8th inning. Contreras today hitless in 3 trips, a fly to center, a fly to left, and in between a strikeout in the 3rd. The 1-2. Will try to keep his team within a run, set things up for perhaps a little rally in the 9th inning.
Seems like Drake going a lot more with the fastball these days than just the splitter. It used to be where he would just kind of set up the fastball, just kind of show it and try and get you out with a split, but it seems like fastball has been a more important pitch for him as of late.
3-2. There's the fastball there.
Fastball up, splitter down.
Then Suter went the first 5. Taylor Williams a clean inning in the 6th. Dan Jennings, Jeremy Jeffress were needed in the 7th. Payoff pitch, got him. Out number 1.
Yep, 92 up in the strike zone. Fastball.
One away here in the 8th. And here's David Bodie. So into a fielder's choice, grounded to second with a fly ball to center. Bullpen run is, you say it's impressive, is an understatement. We're doing all this while Corey Knebel continues to work his way back from the hamstring injury.
And usually that just it creates a big mess down in the bullpen, but it has not. You don't got to credit Craig Counsell for that. I mean, being able to manage that situation very well. Getting these guys to buy into, be ready at any time. Anytime after the 4th, 5th inning, these guys, every one of them is going to be ready. Craig Counsell, Derek Johnson doing a great job with that bullpen.
Anytime, any situation. A ball, 2 strikes to David Bodie. Drake missing with a fastball there.
And every one of them can give you more than 1 inning. It's kind of been the trend in baseball these days.
It has. You'd have to look around though. Like Counsell, you were talking the other day, Counsell has a variety of options to give you more than 1 inning. Almost across the board they can do that. 2-2 pitch. Splitter missing here, and it's a full count. One of the things this bullpen has been able to do in this stretch is avoid walks. There's a liner into right. Santana drifting back. 2 men out. Let's go back to the 7th inning where the Cubs were able to regain the lead. This bouncing ball that Eric Sogard could not make the play on. It was our Badger Mutual Insurance run of the game as the Cubs pushed across the go-ahead run. 3-2 is your score. Sogard will lead off the 9th inning for Milwaukee.
And it'll be against the Cubs closer.
And Toro, there he is. He has yet to allow a run this year. Earned his 5th save last night. Happ today with a single and a couple of strikeouts. Now it's 1-2. Happ began the year at the top of the order for the Cubs. Homered on the first pitch of the season. The opener in Miami. Here's the 1-2. Little tapper. Pena. Nice play. Inning over. And a 1-2-3 inning for Oliver Drake. Brewers need 1 to tie, 2 to take the lead.
Field, and coming up on Brewers Live post game coming up in just a few minutes with Dario Melendez and Jerry Augustine. It's another tight game here at Wrigley. 2 really well pitched games in the first 2 games of this series. It was Yu Darvish and Brent Suter who started the game as a quality start. For Yu Darvish, gave up just 1 run, and for Brent Suter, he settled in nicely after the Cubs scored 2 in the first inning. We'll get reaction from manager Craig Counsell. That's all coming up on Brewers Live after the game.
All right, Sophia, hopefully they'll be talking about a Brewers 9th inning rally. Let's see what happens. Down a run is Brandon Morrow now looking to close it out for the Cubs.
Yeah, picked up a save last night, although he did give up a couple of hits. He also got a double play ball. 10th appearance for Morrow, 5 for 5 in save opportunities. Bottom 3 in the batting order for the Brewers coming up.
It begins with Eric Sogard. First pitch swing and a foul ball. Sogard, Pena, and Braun. Sogard walked and scored the tying run in the top of the 7th on the sacrifice fly from Christian Yelich. Cubs, of course, regained the lead. Ball to strike to Sogard, leading off the 9th inning for Milwaukee. Mentioned Braun hits 3rd. Morrow last year did not allow a home run coming out of the Dodgers bullpen. In fact, the last 228 hitters he has faced, he has kept the ball in the ballpark. So that means he's due.
Oh, that's my theory. Yeah, get a man on and get Bronny up there. If anybody can buck that stiff breeze that's blowing right now, it's him.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Sogard. That is strike 3 called. 1 away in the ninth.
Not only does he throw hard in the upper 90s, but he can put it pretty much where he wants it.
Check out Miller Lights. What's on tap for tomorrow afternoon? Another good matchup. Junior Guerra and Jose Quintana. Guerra off to a terrific start. Our coverage starts with Brewers Live at 12:30 here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Pena singled to left in the 5th inning. See if they have a bloop and a blast in them. Wind still kicking in, but not quite as hard as it was earlier in the game. 2 balls, no strikes to Pena. And there's a liner scooped and caught out of the air by Addison Russell for the second out.
Yeah, rough luck for Manny Pena. Hit that one right on the nose. 2-0 fastball, got the bat head out. Unfortunately, right at Addison Russell. Couple of steps, able to catch it on the fly.
So here's Ryan Braun. Last night of the 9th inning, he was able to extend the game with an infield single. Travis Shaw flied out deep to left. He'll try to extend it for Lorenzo Cain today. And that was a home run cut. Oh, 1 pitch. In at 99. He has 5 homers this year. 2 have happened in the 9th inning. He's trying to get the ball in play now. And that won't happen as he strikes out, and the Cubs win it 3-2. Back-to-back one-run decisions going the way of Joe Maddon's Chicago Cubs. And on this day, an unearned run in the 7th inning proved to be the difference. So the Brewers will try again tomorrow afternoon, try to get the offense going. Cubs hang on this afternoon, 3-2. Dario and Augie are up next with Brewers Live on Fox Sports Wisconsin.